Hi everyone, welcome to the Roasting Canuck. It's a beautiful afternoon here in North Carolina. Today we have a very special recipe. We have this recipe that I've been making for a while now. I've been making it for over 10 years, and it's the first recipe that I ever came up with on my own without looking at recipe books or YouTube or anything like that. They are barbecue chicken wraps. And the main focus of this recipe is the sweet peppers. So we get a bunch of sweet red peppers and yellow peppers and orange peppers. And what I do is I blend it into a mash and then make it into a sauce later. And I'll explain to you guys how I do that. But before we begin, I want to give you guys a run through of the ingredients. I will give you guys a more detailed list in a little bit of what we need for this recipe. But as you can see here, this is most of what we need is right here. It doesn't require a lot of ingredients, and also doesn't require a complex method of getting it done. You just need a barbecue grill and some good cooking ware. I like to use cast iron because I believe it's unmatched, and I believe that the flavors are just way better. Everything cooks more evenly. But if you don't have cast iron, you can use pretty much any cooking ware. So what we have here, we've got some chicken breasts, we've got some olive oil, we've got some maple syrup, we've got some seasoning. I like to use Kinder's the blend for this particular recipe. I've been using it for a while now, and it's delicious every time. It is salt, pepper, and garlic. That's all it is. We have some vinegar to add to the pepper sauce to give it a little more of a tang. And peppers are already sweet. By adding the maple syrup, we just take it to a whole other level. It's going to be absolutely delicious inside the barbecue wrap. And that is pretty much all we need, other than the cheese and the tortillas, which I will show you guys how to assemble them later. But yeah, that's pretty much everything we need for this recipe is right here, other than tortillas and the cheese. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we are going to season the chicken. I've got my seasoning right here, trying to not send seasoning everywhere. So I'm going to use the back of my hand to kind of direct the seasoning onto the chicken breast so it doesn't, at least a little bit less of it bounces off and goes to the ground. So just season it, kind of. I like to put quite a bit on there because it's just going to get inside the meat, and once they are grilled, you'll taste it a lot better. So flip them around, get a little bit more seasoning here, on there. And then if you want, you can just, what I do is I just put it back inside the container, and I'll just season the other ones. Take those out. And just repeat the process. Season it. So the back of the hand is really helpful when you don't want to have to pick up a big mess later. So a little trick I picked up from watching YouTube videos and whatnot. This chicken is seasoned. What I'm going to do is I'm going to let it sit there in the fridge for about an hour minimum. You can leave it up to 3 hours, 4 hours. It's just going to be better in my opinion. The next thing we are going to do after this is get the peppers chopped up. You don't need to chop them up too finely because we are going to stick them in the blender to make a mash out of them. So a good trick for the peppers when you are cutting them, and don't really have a technique. I like to just cut the top off and just take this part out, and then I will cut the edges where the pepper seeds and membrane is attached, and then you just kind of discard that part, and then I'll just cut them in half, and there we go, ready to stick in. So we're out here on the grill. We have preheated this grill to reasonably high heat. This is a pellet smoker. It's a YS 640 from Mueller Smokers. I've had this smoker for about 4 years now. Very satisfied with it. But you can make this recipe. You can use a charcoal grill or a gas grill. I've tried all three of them, and honestly, it turned out great every time. So we're gonna preheat this grill, and then we'll get the chicken on here, and get the chicken to about 175 Fahrenheit on the internal temperature, and it should be really juicy, and that's what we want. So once the peppers are fully blended, as you can see, they are completely, they have turned into a mash. I like to add a little bit of olive oil. Just a little bit of olive oil, just to get it into a creamier, a little bit of a creamier texture. Not too much, but just enough to get in there and get it a little creamier. Then you'll blend it. And the texture should be kind of like, you know, a little slightly on the creamy side, but not too much, because you want these peppers to really shine through, and you don't want to add too much of anything. I like to add some salt. I've got some kosher salt right here. I'm gonna add a little bit of salt to it. Not much, just maybe a tablespoon or so of salt, and just blend it. Vinegar. You can use just regular white vinegar or red wine vinegar, or even balsamic. Balsamic vinegar is really good in here. I like to use about, I'd say about a quarter cup or so, or less, depending on how acidic you like it. I like it really tangy, so I will put about a quarter cup of vinegar in there for a whole blender. Like this. So then we'll add the maple syrup. I'd say about 2 to 3 tablespoons of maple syrup. And then just blend it all together. There you go. That's it for our pepper sauce. All we have to do now is cook it down to a sauce, and I will show you how to do that. All right, so for cooking the sauce, the peppers, I like to preheat my cast iron skillet. I'll leave it on high, or whatever skillet you've got. Leave it on high for a little bit just to get it going. Kind of preheat it, and then I'll turn it down once it's nice and hot. Turn it down to about a medium, slightly on the high side. And then we'll take our pepper mash and just kind of slowly pour it in there without trying to not splash it too much. And then try to get as much as we can out of that. We can use a spatula, a rubber spatula here, to try and get as much this good stuff in there. Try not to waste any. Okay. Then I'll do the same thing with the rest of the blender. It's got such a nice color, and this is going to reduce down. It's going to get darker. It's going to get nice, and all the water is going to evaporate. You're going to be left with kind of like a creamy, sweet red pepper sauce that is really going to complement well the chicken and the cheese. And inside this tortilla, which I'm going to show you how to really not give it some good crisp, is going to be amazing. All right, we're going to skip on to the next step, and I'll show you guys what to do. Starting to get some nice char on them. Sometimes you're going to have to switch them around a little bit, depending on where the hot zones are on your grill. This one's getting most of the heat right now. Give you guys a closer look here. As you can see, it has reduced quite a bit. Most of the water has evaporated. What you're left with is a thick sauce that will not just run everywhere or leak when you're biting into the wrap. And this is the consistency you're looking for. It took a while to get it there. Like I said, about 2.5 hours, but you're going to definitely speed this up if you're going to be just watching it the whole time. Just make sure it doesn't burn. You want it to be nice and just kind of creamy like this. Okay, so our chicken has reached about 170 internal temp. So we're going to pull it off. As you can see, I had to pull off the smaller pieces because obviously they cook a lot faster. But it's just common sense. Obviously they're not all going to cook, get ready at the same time. So yeah, just make sure you keep an eye out. And I think 170 is the sweet spot for these chicken breasts. We're going to take them out, let them rest, and then slice into them and start building our chicken wraps. So I like to slice this chicken into thin slices. It has rested for about 15 minutes. I make some pretty thin slices. It's just easier and makes for a better bite. So I'll just cut all these chicken breasts into thin slices like this, and then we'll start assembling the chicken wraps. So tortillas, let's talk tortillas. A lot of different brands, a lot of different qualities. The one I usually go with is La Banderita. I don't know if I pronounced it right. I'm French Canadian, not Hispanic. What sold me on it was the first time I got it, a taste of Mexico. So I want to feel like I'm in Mexico when I'm doing Mexican food. Although this is not a Mexican recipe, but taste of Mexico just makes it sound just great. And then I got the gluten-free Mission. My wife really likes these. She can't eat flour, so I do get her the gluten-free, and she seems to like them a lot. We've tried a lot of different gluten-free tortillas, and this here seems to be the best one that we can find. So yeah, show you guys how we assemble these wraps in a little bit. So now that the chicken is all chopped up, sliced, I'm going to try a piece. Super juicy, a little salty. That seasoning is awesome. So yeah, now that we chopped all this up, going to start assembling our wraps. All right, so to assemble the chicken wraps, what I want to do is smother a little bit, or slather a little bit of that pepper sauce in the middle because it'll spread out as you fold it. Then I want to add a little bit of this Munster cheese. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but I usually put 2 slices. And just in case I didn't pronounce it well, this is the Munster cheese. You guys can tell me if I pronounced it well or not. And then we add a little bit of chicken. Now remember, we want to be able to like close this up like a burrito. So you want to try and keep everything kind of in the middle, towards the end a little bit. You want to fold both sides. Then with your thumbs, you're going to bring the back of it down and then just kind of like keep everything on the inside and roll it. And I will have another video where I can show you guys more in detail how you make a burrito. But this is your end product. Well, not actually your end product, because now we're going to toast it in the cast iron skillet, which I have sprayed some oil. It'll allow it to toast and get crispy. So I will show you guys here in a minute. Okay, so we've got the cast iron skillet nice and hot. I'd say about just a little bit under medium heat. Spray a little more of this canola oil or canola blend. I like to spray the wrap also because it just allows it to crisp up so much faster. And then I'll put the opening side on the bottom to try and seal it. And you can keep a little, you can kind of press it down. And sometimes you'll check, make sure it's kind of golden on the bottom and not burnt. But it's kind of getting golden. Very slippery, that's a good sign. Yeah, this will crisp it up nice and makes for a nice bite because everything on the inside is going to be nice and moist. You can even crank up the heat a little bit. Sometimes at the end, towards the end, I like to crank it up a little bit more and then get a nice crisp on the outside of this chicken wrap. Oh yeah, that's the color you want right there. I'll finish this up, I'll show you guys on the other side. But it needs to look like this, and you can kind of feel it. It's got some good crust here on the outside, which is what you want. That's the color you're looking for right here. So this one's pretty much done. I'm going to be cutting into it with you guys, and then we'll be ready to eat it. Alright, so we're ready to cut into it. I like to use one of these, but if you don't have one of these, you can use a knife and just chop it right down the middle. Again, this is what it looks like on the inside. I'm about to take a bite of this. Oh yeah, it's amazing. The sweetness and tanginess of the pepper sauce, and then the grilled chicken in there, and then the cheese. Really amazing. Hopefully you guys like it. So this wraps it up for today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. We'll have plenty of recipes to show you guys over the next couple of months. We'll also have some home brewing videos down the line at some point. And we'll be sharing you guys some techniques for barbecuing, different types of barbecue from around the world. And I would like to thank you guys, and feel free to subscribe. And hopefully you guys found this helpful and enjoyed it. And till next time, cheers.